Solving matrices using elimination. This is the extra credit tutorial. First of all, we have a 4x5 system. Notice I've already lined up my x's, my y's, my z's, my u's, and my constants on the end. First thing I want to do is I want to make my augmented matrix. So I'm going to put my bar over here. So I have 1, -1, -1, 1, and 0. 2, 0, 2, 0, 8, 0, -1, -2, 0, -8, 3, -3, -2, 4, and 7. Okay, now using elimination, the goal here is to make all of these values below this diagonal right here, this diagonal right here, all of these values equal to 0. This first number is called our pivot. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here, just like with elimination, we're going to multiply through by a number, and we're going to go ahead and add it to a row to eliminate it. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by multiplying this by -2, so that way when I add it to 2 I get a 0. Remember, our goal here is to get zeros down here. So I'm going to take -2 times row 1, add it to row 2. So -2 plus 2 is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the first row. And let's do the math. -2 times 1 plus 2. -2 times -1 plus 0. -2 times -1 is 2 plus 2 is 4. -2 times 1 is -2 plus 0. That's going to be -2. And then we have 8. Okay. Then we copy everything else down. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want to make this 0 here. So what we could do here, there's different ways of doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and take a half of 2 and add it to -1. So I'm going to take a half of row 2 and add it to row 3. Okay, so half of 0 plus 0 is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and start by putting down my numbers again. Half of 2 is 1, plus -1 is 0, which is what I wanted. Half of 4 is 2, plus -2, which is 0. Half of -2 is -1, plus 0 is -1. Half of 8 is 4, plus -8 is -4. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this one at the same time. I want to get rid of the 3, so I'm going to take -3 times row 1 and add it to row 4. Okay, so -3 times 1, add it. -3 times -1 is 3, plus -3 is 0. -3 times -1 is 3, plus -2 is 1. -3 times 1 is -3, plus 4 is 1. -3 times 0 is 0, plus 7 is 7. Well, that's the start of 6th period. So I'm going to pause the video right now, and we'll come back and finish this matrix up. We'll see you in a little bit. Okay, welcome back. So what we're going to do now is, notice we have 1, 2, 0. And remember, I talked about this being our pivot point, or pivot number, and then this would be the next one. Okay, a pivot number cannot be 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rearrange these last two equations. I'm going to switch these two around. And that's legal. we can switch those around. So let's do that right down here. 1 second here. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do, by the way, I'm back. It's the end of the day, and I have to get upstairs for PSAT blitzing, but we'll finish this out here. I'm going to go ahead and switch these two around because my pivot number cannot be 0. And here we have a pivot number of 0, and we cannot have that. So, okay, so another interruption. Anyway, pivot number can't be 0. It can be any other number, but it cannot be 0. Ideally, it's nice to have these to be all 1s, but so I'm going to switch these two equations around. Okay, so here's what we have now. I switched these two equations around, and now notice we have zeros in the lower corner. So we're really ready to start solving. So starting down here, our fourth variable, which is u, okay, so what we have here is we have negative 1u equals negative 4. So solving for u, we get u equals 4. Okay, so that one's done. Okay, next one. Our next letter is z. So here we have 1z plus 1u plus 1u. Well, we know what 1u is. That's negative 4. I'm sorry, it's positive 4 equals 7. Again, 1z plus 1u, which is 4. 1 times 4 is 4, equals 7. So solving this, we get z equals 3. Okay, back up to the next one. So our next letter is y. So we're going to have 2y plus 4z, which is 3, minus 2u, which is 4, equals 8. So we get 2y. 12 minus 8 is 4. So solving this, we get y equals 2. Going up to the top, our first letter was x. So we got 1x. Let's do this one over here. 1x minus 1y, so minus 1 times 2, minus 1 times z, plus 1 times u, which is 4, equals 0. Okay, I keep getting interrupted, so I'm trying to get this video done. And I have approximately 4 minutes to do this. So we have x. So we got minus 2 and minus 3, that's minus 5. Minus 5 plus 4 is minus 1. And because I'm making all these interruptions, or getting interrupted, hopefully I haven't made any mistakes. Because when I do math, I like to have peace and quiet and complete focus. So here's our answers. X equals 1, y equals 2, u equals 4, and z equals 3. And that's how you do it. So, now for your problem. It is going to be, if I can find it, here's your system. Okay, so you're solving the system. I want to know what is x equal, y equals, and z equals, and make sure you use elimination and matrices to solve it. Have a good night. Good luck. See you tomorrow.